So we have covered a lot of information so far, but now let's shift gears and let's look at lifestyle strategies for managing type 2 diabetes and what goes into that. Now, when talking about type 2 diabetes management, I often like to use the three-legged stool approach. This is a concept that helps us understand the three main parts of managing type 2 diabetes and that each of these is just as important as the other. We have healthy eating, exercise, and medication. And now if this were a stool, if one of those legs was missing and you tried to sit on the stool, it would fall right over. And that's just illustrating to us that each one of these three components needs to be present in your type 2 diabetes management plan. Now, treatment can change over a lifetime. This is normal. However, type 2 diabetes management should always include healthy eating, checking blood sugar, and being active. It later may include oral medications or insulin, or sometimes a combination of both. The role of food is very important in type 2 diabetes management. I mentioned earlier that carbohydrates always cause your blood sugar to go up, and the other food groups will affect your blood sugar in different ways, and we'll learn more about that in session 2. But fat and protein-rich foods won't cause your blood sugar to change as much, but it's important to know how to plan meals to have healthy blood sugar ranges throughout the day. So eating well helps you manage diabetes and can help with weight management too, which is sometimes related to type 2 diabetes. The bottom line though is that you can still enjoy foods that you love if you learn moderation and serving sizes and how to count carbs. The role of exercise in type 2 diabetes management is important too. Exercise can actually help to lower your blood sugar. It helps our body use the insulin that we have a little bit better for a short period of time, both during and after our exercise. And getting exercise on a regular basis may even help you to see lower hemoglobin A1C numbers. The role of medicine in type 2 diabetes management is also important. This is going to be determined by your doctor or your healthcare team, of course, but many people need oral medication, so some type of pills, or a combination of oral medication and insulin, or just insulin, and this is highly individualistic. So there are a few things to consider for safe medication use. Using a pill counter can help, especially for people who take multiple types of medication throughout the day. This can help avoid missing doses. You also want to be sure to store medications safely in a cool and dry place. Keeping medicines in a place that they might get wet or in a hot place, like a hot car in the summer, is not generally a good idea. You want to learn about the side effects of each medication that you take and communicate what you're experiencing with your healthcare team. It's also helpful to carry a list of all your medications with you to each of your doctor's appointments and checkups. Even if you have a doctor who's not related in your diabetes care, it's good for them to know what diabetes medications that you take, as there may be interactions with other treatment plans that they're providing for you. And lastly, pay attention to expiration dates on your medications. There are a few equipment storage tips that you should keep in mind as well. Don't store medications or meters or any equipment in a place that is too hot or too cold or that it might get damp. You want to keep your meter and test strips clean and dry so that you can be sure that your readings are accurate. And always dispose of used lancets and test strips properly. We have a link here that you can visit to learn more about safe disposal for your area. If you're taking insulin, it's important to understand how long it's active in the body and about when it will be at its peak time. The peak time of insulin is when it's working its very hardest to bring your blood sugar back down and it's most active. It's very important that you know your insulin and when it will peak so that you can watch for signs of low blood sugar around the peak time. So we've covered a lot of information in this first session about the background and basics of type 2 diabetes management. But I want to bring it on home to our three-legged stool once again and just remind you that healthy eating, exercise, and medication management are the three key components to managing type 2 diabetes. We'll learn more about healthy eating in our second session. Congratulations, you made it through the first session of our three-part diabetes management series. And this concludes the first session. In our next session, session 2, we'll learn more about healthy eating and carb counting.